Welcome back, Dead Ball Dancing. Obviously, we have our buddy Luke back again, filling in for Justin. These rankings are going to be the best rankings of the whole year because they're just my rankings. None of Justin's nonsense in here. So you can get a sense for where we differ on some of our stuff. There's no Miami of Ohio in the top 5. There's no Purdue in the top 10. This is a nice, clean look at rankings. But Luke, welcome to Dead Ball Dancing. Thanks for joining us, bud.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to talk a little college basketball. It's my favorite sport to watch.
So where do your biases lay for college basketball? Like, who's your team? What do you like as far as conferences? Are there teams you hate?
Well, I'm a Badger fan, but they're average. They can beat any team, but they could lose to any team. As you saw, they beat Michigan earlier in the year, but then they go and lose to, USC's athletic, and that's where they struggle against is really athletic teams. Teams that I hate Duke. That's pretty much it. I don't dislike anything else. I root against Arizona, but that's because I was a Badger fan and they could never get over the hump.
We tend to like skew just a little bit on this show, like anti-blue blood. That does seem to happen to us, even though we identify it, we talk a lot about it. I still find myself pushing blue bloods down, but my rankings on the screen, I got Duke at 3, I got Gonzaga at 10. So I'm aware of it. I try to work against it. Basketball's basketball.
I like you. I was looking at your rankings. I like them. I think Texas Tech, I would have a little higher. They're a little banged up right now, and that's the only reason why. But when you have Topham on your team, you can, he's going to be a lottery pick, and that just I like them in a tournament run. Probably realistic rankings where they are now. I could move Kansas down a little bit, but they're shooting the ball for 45%. I think the last 3 games, you're going to beat anybody.
Well, and I got Kansas and BYU stuck right next to each other there. They play. So that'll sort itself out. I tend to do that with my rankings. Like, I think one of these teams is 3 spots better than I have them at 15 and 16. I just don't know who wins. I don't know which one. So, I can make a prediction, but I try not to layer too much like close game prediction into my rankings because I'll just fix it the next week. That's a big one. That's a big game.
I mean, when you think about it, how I look at teams is who do I not want to play in March? And I mean, if we want to jump into the Michigan State game, I'm saying I don't want to play Michigan State in March. Do not. They shot poorly in the first half. They were down 16 at halftime, and then they battled back.
Yeah, I thought it was done.
Yeah, but Michigan shot the lights out of the ball. I mean, Cadeau shot 55% from the 3-point line, and he doesn't shoot that. I mean, nobody shoots that percentage. And Michigan State plays good defense, and you got to give them credit for going into one of the tougher places to play. But I don't want to play Michigan State. I just think their style of basketball is conducive to March. I dislike Duke, but I wouldn't want to play Duke.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at with Iowa State right now. Is just like sure, they have this like lull every year, but like I don't know, I do not want anything to do with playing Iowa State because that team can just drop 100 on anybody.
Yeah, they can, and you got to think of it. I always look at it as my basketball coach in high school, being from the Midwest. This is when it's snowing and 40 days of darkness up here, it gets depressing, and like these Midwest teams do go on lulls because it's freezing cold. They don't get the sun to, you don't see the teams down south go on the 3-game losing streaks very often. But then all of a sudden, spring starts popping up and the good teams reemerge again. And so you just have to survive that, winter cold and up here. So, but yeah.
It's always the worst in the Big Ten. It's like Northwestern can pop up and just get somebody on like a weird Tuesday on a shitty January, February day. It's like it happens. It happens all the time. And it's like this year's team for that, I kind of feel is like Maryland has been so close to knocking off some big teams. They haven't done it yet, but it's like if I told you that like Maryland beat Purdue in Maryland like by a point or two, it's like, well, yeah, of course they did. It's like February 8th. Like,
yeah, and USC can go in and beat anybody just because they're more athletic than most Big Ten teams, but they could also get beat by Penn State.
Jumping back to the Michigan State game, I'm sure it exists somewhere. I haven't seen it, but like I want a contested shot percentage metric because Fears might be the best contested shot player in basketball right now. Unfortunately, he misses like some open jumpers sometimes, but the dude, when it gets tight, when the court compresses, he just seems to have that touch. And a 12-point loss doesn't really tell the whole story in this game. This game was a lot wider, obviously 42-26 at halftime. The top of the Big Ten, like the top 8 teams in the Big Ten, I feel like are going to give us one of the best Big Ten tournaments we've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, I don't see any upsets really coming out of your Wednesday games, which is going to be what? It'll be Northwestern, unfortunately. Northwestern, Maryland, Penn State, they get to play the playing games. They're not going to go in and upset anybody. Minnesota's, they could, I think, but I just don't see them doing it. They're on a 6-game losing streak. The wheels kind of fall off at that point in the season for you. But I went to the Badger Minnesota game, and Minnesota's got some players. They just have some boneheaded defensive lapses. You're like, what are you doing? Or they'll foul at the most inopportune time, like, oh, yeah, fouling John Blackwell, who shoots 90% from the free throw line, is probably not a good idea. Go foul the big guy who shoots 70, So I don't know. I agree with you. I think this could be a really good year. The hard part is they play on Sunday, and so it doesn't benefit you to make it to the champion, to win your conference anymore. So I hope they can change that again. I think they do have a plan to change.
Yeah, the thing that fixed this year is everybody plays again. I know last year not everybody got in, which was hilarious when Penn State didn't make the Big Ten tournament. But this year, everyone's in again. I mean, keep adding teams. This is going to be like a Monday to Sunday thing. There's just so many teams. But I'm here for the midweek playing games. Obviously, as it heats up, like the Big Ten was always a little bit different with the triple bye. I like that. I appreciate that because like you said, like these teams don't need more wins against lower ranked schools. It really doesn't matter at that point. So I like the idea of going back to back games because like we've seen it happen with some of these shitty schools. It's like all of a sudden they're playing on Saturday for something meaningful. And like a team that was not even close to the bubble is now like squarely in the field just with tournament wins. And it's different kind of basketball.
It is. I don't know if there's any teams in the Big Ten that are going to be toying with the bubble. I think the top 8 teams will make it, maybe top 10, but I don't see any teams that, unless Northwestern goes on a run, just because they have Martinelli, and I think sometimes they play. I think the committee does play favorites to if a team has a star, and I think he's going to play in the NBA. I think so. I hate to say that, but it's the NCAA committee. So,
yeah, I've got Minnesota at 81. They could potentially play their way close. All my other Big Ten teams, I mean, the next lowest that I've got in there is Northwestern at 54. So, like realistically, with all the auto bids that come in, like those two would be the ones I'd be watching for bubble teams. Because you pulled 31 auto bids out of there, and half those teams like I've got Bethune-Cookman making the field because I have them winning the SWAC, but like I think they're ranked like 200 in my rankings. Like somebody has to win those auto bids, So like some of those teams in the 50 to 80 range are just not going to make it.
Yeah, I don't see 11. So Lunardi's got 11 Big Ten teams. I don't see 11 getting in, but he hates the Big Ten. I don't know. Like, you're really going to tell me that the last 4 buys are Wisconsin, UCLA, and Ohio State, 3 Big Ten teams? Give me a break. Like, if UCLA is a 9, the Badgers are a 9, and Ohio State's an 11, teams are going to be pissed because they're like, we don't want to fucking play those teams.
Yeah.
If you're a 6 or a 8 you don't want to play them. UCLA can beat anybody. Um, they're a good team. Ohio State is one of those teams I just don't get.
They have so much potential, and they like squander it at a rate that I have not seen in college basketball. They're like the best team and the worst team on every court they step on.
Yeah, they just can't play 40 minutes of basketball. They'll play 18 minutes of great basketball in the first half, and then they'll give up a 10-0 run to end the half that brings the team back in the game. But I did look up your contested shot. Michigan State leads the NCAA in allowing teams to only shoot 28% from the three-point line throughout the whole season this year. So, like, yeah, giving up 50% from the three-point line, you're going to get beat. So.
Yeah, and like the game flow was just kind of weird. You know, it was what, like 7-2, and then you blink and it was like 14-6, and Michigan just kind of paced that whole first half. They executed their game plan better. I mean, that gym was quiet for stretches of the first half, which I don't think I've seen in the last 10 years.
But what's crazy to me is that I haven't seen Mara play like that all year for Michigan. He didn't do that against the Badgers, but Winter's a really good defender, so I give him credit for that. And also Wisconsin starts 2 7-footers, sometimes 3 7-footers, depending on if they go Rapp, Bielskis. And so, I mean, I think Mara struggles against other height, but Michigan State are more athletic. Like Kohler isn't a great defender. He's more of an offensive player, but I just don't know. I'm not a big Mara fan just because I don't know why he would have left UCLA, and then go to another Big Ten team. And then I was reading that it was because the coach wanted him to play defense, and he's like, I don't really do that.
It's not my thing.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Like, imagine being so good at something that you can just opt out of parts of it. Like yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll transfer. I'll go somewhere that doesn't ask me to play defense.
If you're 7'6", though, like, why would you not want to play defense? It's just like,
I mean, that's how you make the league, right? I mean, you got to be able to play both sides. Well, I guess
he's going to make the league regardless, right? I mean, but yeah, no, I've been very impressed with college basketball. I think this Villanova team that you have at 24, they play some physical basketball. Like, they are ruthless. And the TCU has dropped quite a few games, but they're also super physical. So it'll be interesting to see if they can maintain that, but also it depends on what referees you get in the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. If you can go on a run playing that style.
Fair enough.
That Villanova team they hound your guards. Their guards, they don't care. They'll go 4 deep on the bench and they'll just beat the crap out of you.
Well, and obviously Big East, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Obviously Big East, UConn at the top, man.
But what?
Did you catch the Nebraska-Illinois game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the one that really turned it for me. That's the one that really turned it on for me. It's like, this is real. Still not as high on them as Justin has been. But like, Nebraska plays really, really well. Obviously, without their best player, drops a real tight one to Michigan. They have what it takes to compete. I think there's some maturity that still needs to come top to bottom, but it's not going to be often the rest of the season they don't have the best player on the court, as long as he's not sick. But yeah, I think I was a little late to the party as well. It's just like, because it's Nebraska. Who cares about Nebraska? And they play a really complete version of basketball that has been really fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're one of the teams that they're just very unselfish. They don't really care where it comes from. It's kind of that old school style of basketball where on any given night, their top 4 players one of them's going to light you up. So you just got to be prepared for that. But that Illinois team is good. And I like Brad Underwood. I really do. I think he's a great coach.
Other result from yesterday I wanted to call out was St. Louis. That's a team that's been moving up our board. They beat the brakes off of Dayton. They won that game 102-71. and it wasn't that close. 46-29 at the half, outscored them by 14 in the second half. Like, this St. Louis team is moving. One-loss team, undefeated in A10 play. This is almost assuredly now the team that'll come out of the A10 for the auto bid. And this is a team I don't want to see if I am like a Arkansas, Iowa, maybe Virginia. This is a really, really athletic team that can play really fast. And if they boat race you, there's no coming back from that. Like a Virginia is obviously better, right, from a recruiting standpoint. But if St. Louis goes up 15 on you, they have a really gross way of then slowing the game down while still scoring their own points. And you can't let a team like that get up on you in tournament play. So obviously a long way to go, but love the Billikens. Love what I'm seeing.
I mean, their only loss was just an okay Stanford team and game 7 of the year. So it's all about momentum. And you, like, especially in college basketball, you get hot at the right time or you can maintain it, then yeah, you're volatile. That Virginia team is kind of gives you it's a head scratcher of a team. I think, like,
yeah,
because you had to watch them play the Bennett style of basketball where teams didn't score on you, and now it's a little bit different. So sometimes they play great defense and that's what's winning games, and then sometimes they just light you up, and it's like there's no consistency of what you're going to get.
We talk a lot of shit about the ACC just as a conference. They don't take Duke, set them aside, right? Like any other team in this conference could beat any other team in this conference. And it could be by 20, it could be by 1. I don't think it would really impress me too much. I've got Clemson at 23, and then Virginia up at 13. But I'm not like sold on it, right? They're all going to play each other again. SMU is getting hot at the right time. Miami seems to just kind of pick up wins in a weird way. They're 6-2 in conference now. So when I'm thinking about the ACC and the number of bids that they get, which was the big problem last year, they came out and their goal was to put teams in the tournament. Rising tide, everyone needs to play better. But when your teams that are better are Stanford and a fading Louisville and an SMU that started like shit and an irrelevant North Carolina, it's like, where do you think the ACC ends up? How many bids is realistic for this conference to get into the tournament? And then does it matter, right? Because if you put 6 teams in and they all lose in the first round except for Duke, well, that's trash too.
Yeah, I mean, Lenardi's got him having 7. I don't see 7. I just don't, unless Stanford can make a run in the ACC tournament or something like that. But
yeah, they have some good wins, but they're 3-5 in conference, 14-7. So
yeah, I mean,
so what, he's got Duke, Clemson, Virginia, Miami, NC State, SMU, North Carolina, probably.
Those are exact, yeah.
Okay, Tech's right behind them.
Yeah, but he's got Stanford as one of the last 4 out because they've got some good wins. But they've also lost to Seattle. They lost to UNLV, and they lost to Notre Dame where they scored 40 points.
Yeah.
God,
Notre Dame's a bad basketball team.
Yes, they are, and they used to be good. I remember when they were a team that you could actually respect and cheer for. But no, yeah, I was just looking at Lenardi's got Wisconsin versus St. Louis, a 7 versus 10. And to me, I'm like, that is outrageous.
I wouldn't be able to watch that game. I would not be able to watch that game. I'd be sitting on my hands watching like a box score update. I would not be able to watch that on TV because I can picture it. I've seen that game before. No, thank you.
I think the one thing that I think that will go for the Badgers this year is their guard play. They're both guard play could carry them where, Blackwell, and last year they just had Tanjay at the guard, but I mean, he was really good. But I think with Boyd and Blackwell, it's they can play with any team. It's just what are they going to do? Are they going to play big? Are they going to play small? Are they shooting the ball well? I mean, if they come out, they scored 17 points against Minnesota on Wednesday in the first half, and then they scored 50 in the second half. Like they're just.
It's something to talk about early in the year. It's like this Wisconsin team on paper coming into the season, this was the best offensive team since our Final Four teams. And if they had been standard Badger defense and the offense produced at that level, we're talking about a monstrous Wisconsin team in a year that Purdue looks susceptible, in a year that Michigan State looks susceptible. We beat Michigan, which was the one I wouldn't have given us, right? But
and their schedule was conducive. They only played.
Yeah.
They only played.
But the offense goes stagnant. You know, it just slows down sometimes. You know, like the loss to Nova looks better. The 30-point loss to Nebraska is not a good look. And it's just like as we push through this stuff, like giving up 61 points to Central Michigan is not good defense, right? It's not tournament defense. And so if the offense doesn't hit at that Final Four type talent level, and you're giving up 60 points to guys that you should not be, that's a 30-point loss to St. Louis, right?
It'll be interesting to see what lineup Guard wants to go with, though, because Carrington's been playing great defense and he's been shooting the shit out of the ball. So if you get a guy that, like Biauskas is a kind of a liability on the offensive side 95% of the time, except against Michigan, I guess. So I don't know. I kind of like when they go small at times, and because the balls just move. So they'll go Boyd, Carrington, Brody, Blackwell, and then Winter. Because then all five of those guys can shoot. I like that lineup, but Carrington.
Well, and that lineup is built for passing, right? Those are possessions where you're making 4 or 5 passes, and that's where the Badgers excel. Open the floor up a little bit. They have elite level off-ball movement. So if you can make 4 or 5 passes in a possession, you're the better team on the court for all but a couple exceptions in the Big Ten. And it's like, so why against a team like USC are we so focused on fast break offense when that is not at all what we should be looking at? They fell in the same trap against Minnesota. I mean, we almost lost that Minnesota game. And they're moving too fast. Slow down.
I immediately, when I woke up, I'm like, oh, crap, the Badgers played today. Who do they got? And I looked at USC. I'm like, oh, this is a trap game. Like, this is, they've played 3 physical games in a row, and then they get to go play an athletic team who wants to get up and down the floor. Yeah, they're going to – but they really blew that game. They were up 5 points with 4 minutes left, and then they lost by whatever. So, but that USC team, if they could have stayed healthy, would have been good. I mean, getting Teague back is huge for them. Their number one guy is really good. I mean, he's going to be a lottery pick, I think. Maybe not lottery, but he'll be back end. He can just light it up. I don't know. They're a frustrating team, but yeah, Arizona.
They're so good. They're so good. It's like impossible. I keep trying to not rank them 1, and it's just silly. Like I look at my rankings when it's done, and it's like, no, this is stupid. I'm moving right back in the 1 spot because I think they are better than Michigan. And it's not like a crazy thing to say, right? Like you could debate it either way, but like Arizona is undefeated. Arizona has played real teams. So for me, it's like this is the team to beat. They have ASU today. They're going to beat ASU by 50. And like the backups are going to be in at halftime. Like this Arizona team is so deep and so talented. And the Big 12 is the Big 12 is way better than I had given them credit for. And Arizona is still the best team in this conference, and it's not close.
Yeah, I mean, closely followed by Iowa State and BYU. That BYU team, I thought blew their chance. They had their chances against Arizona. I mean, I don't think they'll go down and beat them at Arizona, but they had their chances, and they just couldn't make a shot when they needed it, and they couldn't get a stop when they needed to. They'd hit a big shot, go down 2, and then they'd give up a stupid backdoor cut, and then the 4 points again, and they just could never get over that. But yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. I think UConn is very good. They're a team I also wouldn't want to play in a tournament just because I'm not a huge Hurley fan, but you got to respect him. Houston. I mean, yeah, your list is pretty much right on. So
yeah, and the Big 12 is weird, and Arizona's schedule the rest of the way I wouldn't want, right? So they got Arizona State today. They play Oklahoma State next weekend, but then and I'll use the AP poll rankings, even though we don't like the AP poll, but it's at number 14 Kansas, home against number 11 Texas Tech, home against number 13 BYU, at number 10 Houston, at Baylor, right, which is not like a cakewalk. Kansas comes to town, Iowa State comes to town, and you finish at Colorado. So like a normal team, if I'm trying to analyze this, there has to be 2 losses there, right? Like
at Houston, I think.
So like I'm thinking about the rest of the Big 12 and the way that schedule works out, and I think a 2-loss Arizona with a loss at Houston and call it home Iowa State, maybe. I mean, that 2-loss team is still the best team in the Big 12, and they're probably still my number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, I mean, what the AP poll's got UConn number 2, doesn't it?
I believe so.
I mean, why is that? Like they're 19-1, right? Their only losses to Arizona by 4.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? They already beat UConn. They already beat the team that's built best to beat them. Because the athleticism on that UConn team is insane.
Yeah, I think if you see UConn versus Arizona again, though, on a neutral site, that could be a very different game. I mean, but I remember watching that game. That game was a good game. It was a 4-point game, I think.
Well, that was a neutral site, right? Wasn't that at the Garden?
Was it at the Garden?
I think it was at TD Garden in Boston. So like neutral site, but come on.
Oh, Arizona was technically the home team. That's no.
Oh, I think it was a non-exempt. I think it was just a tournament game.
Just a tournament. Yeah, you're right, because UConn was technically the home team, but it wasn't at.
In their little gym.
Yeah, in their high school size gym.
Yeah, the Big 12 I think is obviously way better than I had given them credit for, but I think they're the best conference in basketball for me now. The Big 10 is right there. The SEC has obviously slipped from last year, but slipping from last year when you put the whole damn conference in the tournament. I mean, we still have Florida at 6, and I've got Bama. I have Georgia just out. Yeah. I've got Auburn in there. Like Vandy's becoming Vandy again, but like the SEC is really good. And so for me to be like, okay, well, they're not 1 and they're not 2, I think that's really telling in a way I hadn't anticipated for how I look at the Big 12. I thought they graduated a lot of talent. I thought they were going to slip from last year. And if anything, they're better.
Yeah. I mean, again, if you look at Florida, would you have expected Florida to be this good this year? No. You lost the best peer scorer in the tournament last year. That guy, I can't even remember his name, but he was that guard was unreal.
And they struggled early, right? But like they've come on, like they're ass whooping people now, and
they beat a really good Tennessee team at Tennessee by 15 or 20.
Yeah,
and so it's their guards are a little small, but they're so fast. I mean, their one guard's 5'11". I don't think I've seen a 5'11" guard in college in forever. But he is so fast, and he's not scared of anything. Like he went up. I think, who did they play last? They played Florida State, I think, as their rivalry game. They thumped them.
Man, that team's bad.
But which is crazy because that Florida State shouldn't be bad at any sport, in my opinion. But
right, like when we were growing up, it's like Florida State is like a superpower all the time, no matter what. Now they're like bargain basement SEC.
yeah,
I think that undefeated
baseball,
football
basketball.
season where they got left out, I think it broke them as a culture. Like
they deserve to get let out. I'm sorry. Like it, but no, I don't know. I mean, if you look at it though, a team outside of the top 25, who would you not want to play? That's the question that I've been really kind of looking at is who's the team you're like, oof, I don't want to play them.
I've got St. John's at 30, and St. John's continues for me to be a team that has all that potential. They haven't executed on it. A lot of the flaws we saw in them last year have really been exposed this season. They're a really poor shooting team. But I think the pick for me is Seton Hall. I have Seton Hall at 49. So that's like a 12-13. That might be like that play-in 13 game, right? And then they pull a 4, and it's like, let me look at my 4 seeds really quick. Like Seton Hall, Kansas, Seton Hall, Arkansas. Like that would be the game I don't want to see the Pirates. I want nothing to do with Seton Hall. They spread the floor. They shoot really, really well. And the tape that you have on them is no good because they don't play big teams. They're playing a really tough Big East schedule. And I don't know that like an SEC team can look at the tape and like put a meaningful game plan in place against Seton Hall.
Well, Calipari can't because he's not a great coach, but it's I don't disagree with you. I was gonna say TCU if they get in, just because they're so big and physical, but it was Virginia Tech.
Yeah, Tech's playing some good basketball.
They are, but they're also one of those teams you're like, depending on who their matchup is, if they go in and if they get a 10 seed and they get to play a 7, they can go beat Santa Clara, they could go beat St. Mary's, but then if they have to go play Illinois, Florida, Houston in the second round, they're getting thumped. Like they're not going to string. They need to get to a spot where they upset some, like they're a 13 and they upset somebody early, and then they get to play somebody, so it's just, I don't know if it's a year of a ton of upsets. It kind of looks kind of a chalky year to me.
Well, and last year was all chalk, right? I mean, last year, if you chalked your bracket, you won your bracket leagues because like everything we expected to happen happened. And thankfully there were some exciting games along the way, but like last year was all chalk. It's like, I don't know if they're getting better at ranking these teams appropriately or what, but like, there wasn't like any crazy upsets.
No, and I don't know. Is Auburn in right now? I think so. They're a team I wouldn't really want to see.
Yeah, I've got them at 25. That's too high. I don't think they'll actually be a 7 seed come tournament time. I wouldn't be shocked to see them as an 8-9.
Again, not really an 8 or a 9 you want to see. I mean, Bruce Pearl's not there anymore, but his kid is. I mean, they're still doing the same stuff, and Auburn's a team that you never wanted to see late in the year. Like they usually had their losses early on in the year, and that's kind of what they're going through. But you don't have the leg up of coaching without Bruce Pearl. Like if he's in a close game, he's going to keep you in it. Where I don't know if I have the same confidence in Auburn, getting over that hump because their coach now. So, I don't know. It's college basketball is awesome, and now we're getting into the fun part of the year. February and March is the best part.
Well, and what I really enjoy about this time of year is that for some of these teams, every game is a playoff game. So these are my last 4 in right now. LSU, Santa Clara, New Mexico, San Diego State. And what's fun about it is wherever your bottoms are, right? Some of these conferences are only putting in 1 team no matter what, and it's the auto bid. And I love that. So Santa Clara is one for me that we've highlighted a couple times. They're a lot of fun. And it comes down to like resume against eye test for me at this point of the season. And Santa Clara is 18-5. They're right there for the West Coast Conference, but Gonzaga is going to win the conference. So, like, have they done enough? You know, do they do enough to get in? Does the West Coast Conference put in 1, 2, 3 teams, or do they cannibalize each other to only get one in? So, like, that's the ones I'm looking at now, because now I can watch a West Coast Conference game. It's a playoff game. Like, Santa Clara needs to win every single game the rest of the way, except maybe Gonzaga St. Mary's, to be in. And that just gives a little more like excitement to these games.
Yeah, they can't lose early in their tournament. You know, they've got a good win. They beat St. Louis 70. No, they lost to St. Louis by 1. So, I mean,
yeah, 76-77, right?
71-70, yeah. But, you know, then they got thumped by New Mexico, but you always have a game. Every team every year has got a game. They lost to a Loyola Chicago team by 2, and they lost by 12 to Gonzaga, at Gonzaga. You assume they'll play them tougher at home, but they beat St. Mary's already once. So,
And
I mean,
like,
if you
those
can
are
win
the
out and lose just to Gonzaga and not lose to any of these crap teams like Seattle and Oregon State and Washington State, then you're fine.
man, Oregon
Artie's-
State and
Artie's
Washington
got them
State are
first four
so
out.
bad.
Who?
So Oregon State and Washington State, that's what an embarrassment, man. It's like to lose your whole conference and then to play the way they're playing, they are awful.
I just don't understand. Like, I don't get. It was academic based, right? Why they didn't get brought into other conferences? Their academics or
I
something.
have to assume, because like it doesn't matter, right? Like the
But
Big Ten
Oregon
added
State used to be
Nebraska.
good at sports. Like, their football team used to always be ranked when they had Mike Leach, and their girls soccer team was always ranked, and their boys soccer, like, they were good at the weirder sports. But you know, the West Coast sports, I should say, not weirder, but the sports that not many care about.
You're supposed to call them Olympic sports.
Olympic sports, yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then all of a sudden they're not good at anything. Nothing.
It was weird to take Washington and Oregon and not Washington State and Oregon State. It felt like package made for the Big Ten. It was weird. It was weird because, like, from a TV market standpoint, it doesn't add anything. But like from a travel standpoint, like, just weird. It was a bizarre choice, and now everything has happened since. It's weird.
If it was about academics, though, we wouldn't have taken Nebraska in.
Well, and that, if you remember, that was when we were in college, right? And that was a huge argument. That was a huge argument because they were the only non-accredited university in the Big Ten when they came in. But it's like, oh, it's Nebraska and their legendary history and the pageantry it'll bring to the Big Ten. And it's like, and now it's like, yeah, well, they still can't read, but you know, they have added athletically to the conference. So.
Yeah, especially on the female side and wrestling. You know, adding Nebraska volleyball, I think that just solidifies that conference. But what else is Nebraska good at? They're not good at football. You know, so
they're getting better again.
They lost their starting.
You know, they have national championships. You know, going back to 1921 when they claimed them. So
yeah, Bo Pelini was the downfall of Nebraska football.
We got to do a football show. I've been trying to get a football show off the ground for college football, man, but it's becoming like more and more like niche. Like fewer people are watching college ball, I feel like.
Well, I mean, you forget sometimes that the game's on at 8:00 in the morning if they're playing, you know, because they're flying all over the country to do it. You're like, oh crap, I got to get up and go do this. But yeah, It's crazy. So, but I'm excited for college basketball. The tournament's coming up. We got about 2 and 3 weeks, 3 weeks, and it starts.
Yeah, we'll get into conference tournament games. Should be coming up like the 3rd week of February.
Yeah. So, I mean, because you get those conferences that end early and then they get rest, which.
Yeah. Well, hey, I've got a tournament game for you today in the Northeastern. LIU and Central Connecticut play today. Central Connecticut was a lot of people's pick to win the Northeastern this year. They have struggled. kind of slid off. They're 5-4 in the NEC, 11-9 overall. Long Island, some people picked to win the Northeastern Conference this year. Currently in first place, 7-1 in NEC play, 13-8 overall. Scheduled pretty well. Unfortunately, lost all those games. But the Northeastern Conference will put a team in, and it'll be whoever wins the tournament. This is a huge game for determining pacing the rest of the way. Long Island is a 2.5-point favorite. Currently, this is sitting 2.5, 144, 142, bet all the way down to 142.5 on the total. Have you ever seen a Central Connecticut or a Long Island game?
I don't know. I just don't. I have like the college basketball package, so like I can literally search any game that I want, but if they're boring, I just turn them off. Or it's like, oh, they're up 25 already. I'm not watching these teams. I was doing a little bit of research on them. You know, Long Island they've gotten thumped a couple times by some good teams, but bad teams. Like Fordham lost badly. They lost by 40 to Illinois. Lost by 15 to Georgia. Lost 7 to FIU. They just lost to Lemoyne, which, okay.
Go Dolphins. Dolphins beat Sharks. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, in real life, yes, but Lemoyne is not good. So, I mean, that's a bad loss, but
they put together.
Still think Central Connecticut's going to come out of the tournament because,
like I said, the Northeastern's only going to put one team in. Man, these are the best two teams for my money in the conference. Central Connecticut is off to a really bad start this year. I think they're 6th in the conference right now. This is kind of like the game for me. I think if LIU can win this one, they can establish dominance, at least for this season. Kind of set the pace there. They have 3 shooters. They have 3 guys that can go to the rack and score. It's Fuller and Davis and Gordon. They're all like 15, 16 point per game guys, and they're going to be right there. And the nice thing is that they balance each other out really well. So I've only seen 2 LIU games because they're hard to find sometimes. This one's on ESPNU. Make sure you hop on Chainlink and pick it on Chainlink today. This is the game of the week, lit up in blue, noon today, noon start. But I've only seen a couple of their games so far this year, and teams will sell out to stop Fuller because Fuller is like the best player. And then Davis and Gordon will just go off. They just go off. Like you can't pick and choose your spots with these guys because it leaves too much space on the floor. But Darren Smith,
24 against Lamar.
Yeah. Like Darren Smith for Central Connecticut is probably the best player on the floor, period. But you can stop him. You can slow him down. And LIU, I like to win this one just by spreading the ball around. Give me 2 of those guys to score 20 points. And the last one, they have, 8 assists. I think they could cover the spread here. I like LIU to win.
I mean, they just thumped Lemoyne by 22. I think what helped them is that because they were stuck in that winter storm, so they had a game canceled. So they got some rest. I think
that Wagner game they pulled off, right?
So if you watch some games in college, you're like, man, sometimes they just look tired, and they shouldn't, but they just look tired. And I think getting a game right then postponed and moved could be very beneficial because if they move it to the end of the year and it doesn't matter, they're gonna sit guys, So
they did slot that into their open spot. Coming up here, they have 4 games in 7 days because of that reschedule with Wagner. That's gonna be not fun.
Yeah, I see that. The 5th, 7th, 12th, and 14th.
And then the Wagner game on the 16th, right behind it. Like five games in 9 days, 4 games in 7 days. That's a tough stretch.
Yeah, I mean, luckily you get to play a couple bottom feeders during there. So
yeah, little sisters of the poor for sure.
Yeah,
Mercyhurst is good. Mercyhurst has looked good this year.
And St. Francis has beaten a couple of decent teams, but Chicago State, oh my God, they're awful.
And I feel like they've been awful forever. Like, because like I think last year they only had 2 wins, and this year they're like 2-19. It's like, why even field a basketball team at that point? Like, recruit somebody. Go get somebody off the street. It's Chicago. Like, go get a kid from a bus stop. There has to be somebody who can play better basketball.
I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not trying to be rude here, but it can't be that hard to get into Chicago State for school.
I can't imagine it's hard to get into any of these schools. I guess technically these might be private schools, right? This conference?
It is. It's Chicago State's only a 43.3% acceptance rate.
What's their programs? This is now the college admissions version of our podcast.
Yeah.
Because, like, I guess that's the thing, right? Like, if you have some of these private schools, your ability to recruit as a small private school is significantly lower.
Yeah, and it's probably they don't probably have a ton of NIL money. They don't have anything specific. They have arts, business, education, health science, pharmacy. That's kind of a big one.
Okay. I don't imagine there's many NBA caliber players who are going to school for pharmacy. It's just a guess on my part.
So honestly, it looks they actually have tough majors: computer science, criminal justice. Like chemistry.
So maybe that makes sense then. Maybe you just have basketball because a healthy body is a healthy mind. Maybe it's just a write-off.
But so, I like Long Island in this game too. But I wouldn't count Central Connecticut out in a tournament because when your back's against the wall and all you got to do is win one game, and if LIU wins this, tough to beat a team 3 times.
Yep. And Central Connecticut returned a lot of talent. This is a tournament team last year. They have experience, so you can't count out a team like that necessarily. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, did they get thumped in the tournament last year?
Yeah, I think they got boat raced, but they went. They got to go. I mean, going to the tournament, even just the money it brings back for your conference is huge. So, being able to reinvest in the programs, like, that's meaningful when you're these smaller schools because, like the ACC, it doesn't matter if they only put 3 teams in the conference because they print money.
Yeah. I mean, they have TV deals and all that stuff. But you're watching Central Connecticut on Bally Sports, who just went bankrupt, so.
Yeah. Sports TV, man. Remember, like, when we were kids, you watch whatever was on Fox because it was the only thing that was on. And, like, even NFL, it's like you got the game of the week and you're local, and that was about it. And, like, the worst was when your team played the game of the week because then, like, you didn't even get the noon game.
Correct. So who do you have winning the whole dance? Because I might not be on again until if Justin's back. So if you had to pick now, who you got winning it?
So my number one's Arizona, obviously, from a ranking standpoint. Duke. That feels so fucking gross. Duke is going to have an easier path. Duke is a well-rounded team. Duke is the only team that hasn't shown me a fatal flaw that can be exploited yet this year. So I think my pick to win it all right now has to be Duke. God, yeah, that's gross. Dark horse. Give me Virginia.
Okay, I mean, yeah. What is Duke? What are they? What are they? Free throws. They're not a great free throw shooting team.
Yeah, but like, does it matter until Final Four?
Yeah. I mean, they shot 67% against Arkansas.
Yeah.
That's their one downfall. But again, it comes down to officials.
I kind of counted them out, and they go on that West Coast trip, and they just thump the hell out of Cal and Stanford back to back, like in a really convincing fashion. But like if you look back, like they only beat Florida State by 4. You know, they had the loss to Tech. They really shouldn't have beaten Michigan State in that game. They put it away. You know, they play teams really close, which I guess is a detriment in the tournament. But for the most part, they win those games. They win those close games. So, I think it's Duke. Arizona's undefeated. Arizona's best team in the country. I see more ways for Duke to win tournament-style games. But, like, Arizona's talent is insane.
Yeah, I think a team that it'll be an Elite Eight matchup again, because Arizona always gets a 1 or a 2 seed, right? But it's gonna come down to guard play. You know, if Michigan drops to a 2 and plays Arizona, I don't really like that matchup for Arizona. I really don't.
Fair. That's fair. Who's your team? Who's your pick for the championship this year?
In the whole freaking thing. I actually really like UConn. I really do. But I think if I get on again, if Justin can't, let me reassess in 3 weeks, because so much can go down in the next 2 weeks, where it's also that time where somebody turns an ankle, somebody, you know, are they going to be out for a while? I like Duke, but I do think free throw shooting, if a team slows them down enough, could come back to bite them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're only a 74% free throw shooting team. It's not very good. So there's going to be a couple upsets in Texas Tech can go and beat anybody. But they made a run last year, you know. So, but I like UConn. I really do.
Some massive games coming up here this week. BYU Kansas today, obviously, is a big one. Kentucky Arkansas has some meaning to it. UConn plays a really good Creighton team today. St. Mary's gets a crack at Gonzaga. I don't know that matters this year. And then tomorrow, Bama, Florida is one I've got circled. And then the afternoon game, Illinois, Nebraska. So there's some games that are going to shift the landscape for the rankings here. And to your point, right, in 2 or 3 weeks, everything's going to look different. We're going to start getting downhill in these conference schedules, and anything can happen.
What if Nebraska drops 3-4 in a row? You know, like, so they drop from a 2 to a 5. That's not a 5 anybody wants to see. No,
not at all.
You know, or
at a certain point, you can start resting guys, right? Like if you slip a little bit, and you're not gonna lose games to the lower Big Ten teams even without your talent. And it's like, okay, well, now we're talking about a Nebraska that's coming into the tournament fully healthy, and it's I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
my dad and I were talking about that the other day. That some of these guys, I think Maryland had a guy that they wanted to redshirt, a freshman. He actually has played really well the other day. But because the bottom is so bad in the Big Ten, they have to play these younger guys, which waste their eligibility, but they don't want their stars getting hurt.
Yeah.
So like a Zach Kinzinger from Wisconsin, you know, a Malaway from UCLA is going to play against Washington, Penn State, you know, Northwestern. They're going to get time, because then it saves their other players, especially if you go on four games in a week.
Yep.
So
yeah, that snow's going to be a hidden factor here. There are a lot of games moved around and canceled, and I think that big snowstorm is going to be a narrative come conference tournament play.
The nor'easter.
Yeah.
But no, it's the exciting time. We were just it's this week, you know, that week from NFC and AFC championship until the Super Bowl is 2 weeks of just college basketball. There's nothing else on unless you're watching the Australian Open, which has been actually very good.
Yeah, it has been.
So I'm cheering for Djokovic, by the way, and Old Man River. Hopefully he can get her done. But it's been there's nothing on. There's no sports on, and I don't like watching the NBA.
I was hoping to watch some golf, and none of my golfers made the cut. So it really took a lot of the wind out of my sails for San Diego here.
Oh God, my one Canadian guy who made like 18 straight cuts went bogey to end the round. So that was great. So I don't know. Jeff's
Don't
team's
play
really
fantasy
good,
golf, y'all. It's painful. It's painful.
but the thing is the nice thing is like after this, I will only probably be 40 points down to Jeff. And I was down 200 points going into this week. So you can make it up. It's just, I mean, there's so much season left. There's so much season left. And
there's a lot of college basketball season left too. Make sure you get on to Chainlink and make your pick for game of the week, LIU and Central Connecticut. Make sure that you follow, subscribe. Yelling and Screaming NFL show is back next weekend. Super Bowl morning, Super Bowl preview. Dead Ball Dancing will be back. Justin will be back next week, same time, same place. Luke, thank you so much for popping on today. It was great talking some Big Ten basketball.
Heck yeah. Good to talk with you, Rick, always.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what we can figure out. We have to pull you back on, do some tournament predictions. Get the three of us on to talk little Big Ten ball. Justin's a Big Ten guy too.
Otherwise we can wait until the bracket comes out and tear it apart because it's always fun to do.
Maybe we'll do like a live bracket reveal show or something. Poolside.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So, otherwise, have a good weekend. And I mean, you got eventful week coming up here with all the traffic coming into town.
Always. It's always something, man. The waste management.
Are you going?
So much fun. Our vendors haven't gotten back to me yet. So if you're a 602 vendor, your boy needs some comp tickets. But yeah, I might end up going maybe Saturday. But that's always a good day.
It is a good day. They're not terribly priced, and they're reducing. They're not giving out as many free tickets because they can't afford to have another
stampede
like they did. So I know that the restaurant I was at only got 4, and they used to get 10. So it was just crazy.
No rain in the forecast this year, at least not yet. So
80 degrees too. I mean, Scheffler's got to win that. I would like to think the way he's been playing, but
he has to. He's so good.
I'd love to see a Brooks and Scheffler battle Sunday. So,
Well, hey, thanks for joining us. This has been Dead Ball Dancing, the best college basketball podcast on the internet. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot, Luke.
See ya.